Okay, hello students. Today I am going to explain you the reciprocating compressor and the test on the reciprocating compressor. That is experiment number, we can call it as 7. So how to conduct the test, and we will see first that what is the construction details of the reciprocating compressor in our laboratory. Okay, you can see that this is a one large capacity. We can say that the compressor is there in our laboratory. So see, we are having this motor, electrical motor, which we can call it as a prime mover, which will two-stage multi-cylinder compressor. See, we are having the two-stage multi-cylinder compressor. So with this motor, we will run this compressor by rotations. You can see that it is connected to the belt. So let us discuss regarding the compressor. So this is the inlet for the compressor. So you will take the air from the atmosphere through this pipe, and it is given to the first stage of compressors. There are two cylinders for the first stage of compressor, you can see there, and which are having the large size. Now when it is compressed for the intermediate pressure, then it is given to this intercooler. So this is a what? Intercooler. We can call it as an intercooler. See, this is the intercooler. You can measure the intermediate pressure also, and then it is given to the second stage. So see, central cylinder is there for the second stage, and after compressing in the second stage, the air is taken through this pipe, which is rotated here, and then it is given to the receiver. Okay, it is given to the receiver. So you can see that there is a long pipe after the second stage to the receiver. When you are supplying the air, it is circulated through this finned pipe to the receiver. Okay, and here you will store the air. So the final delivery pressure is measured with this pressure gauge, and that we can call it the P3. So P1 is atmospheric pressure, P2 is the intermediate pressure, and P3 is, we can call it the delivery pressure. Now you can see that there is a valve at the opening of this receiver, which will control the flow rate of the air. So when you completely close it, then there is no flow rate. At that time, the pressure inside this receiver will increase, which will apply the back pressure to the second stage, which is going to develop the pressure, and then that will apply the back pressure to the first stage, and which will increase the pressure. So you can say that this receiver is required for storing the air, not only storing the air, but applying the back pressure so that the pressure should be increased up to certain limit. So if this receiver is not there, then it is difficult to apply the pressure. Okay, so that is one point I want to discuss. Now another point is there. See, we want the isothermal processes for the compression. So how to achieve that isothermal process? For getting the isothermal processes, or we will try to achieve it, because perfectly isothermal process is not possible to achieve in actual conditions, but we can try to achieve the isothermal processes. And we want to reduce the work required for the compression, because we are knowing that isothermal processes are the ideal processes for the compression, and we can try to achieve that by rejecting the heat, by removing the heat from the air. So how to do that? The first thing is there that we are having the two cylinders. So two cylinders means there is a lot of surface area available for transferring the heat, and then we are having the fins on that cylinder. Okay, you can see that there are fins. So these fins will transfer the heat efficiently. Again, we are having one fan here, so that fan will rotate, and it will flow the air on these fins, so that you can have the forced convection for the air cooling. So likewise, you will cool the cylinders so that you can try to remove the heat from the air, and we can try to achieve the isothermal process. That is one point we can have. Then second point, you can see that there is an intercooler between the second stage and first stage. So this intercooler is nothing but it is having the finned aluminum pipe, which is having the high thermal conductivity, and as well as the heat transfer rate will be more. So due to that, we can cool it intermediately. We will try to make the this intermediate temperature is equal to the atmospheric temperature, but it may not be possible in actual conditions. So if it is cool to the atmospheric conditions, we will say that it is perfect intercooling, but it is not possible. So whatever the temperature is there, that with that temperature it is sent to the next stage. So this is what we are having, the intercooling system. So likewise, we will try to cool the air, and we will try to remove the heat from that air, so that we will try to achieve the isothermal processes. That is one point. Then another point is there. See, after the second stage, whatever the air is there, that air is sent to the receiver. Before it's sending to the receiver, we want to cool that air, because if we will not cool the air, then the tank size or receiver size will goes on increasing, and as the size of the receiver will increase, we will require the larger cost. So what we have to do, we have to cool that air, and for that purpose, this pipe, you can see that it is having the long pipe, it is having certain rotations, and we can say that the fins are there on this pipe also. So this pipe is called as after cooler. Okay, it is called as after cooler. After cooler is used for reducing the size of receiver, because we are reducing the temperature of the delivery here. So likewise, you can have the after cooler. So this is intercooler and this is after cooler. So this is about the compressor that we are having, and now we will try to discuss regarding the experiment. What experiment we have to perform? So in this case, we are going to perform the trial on the compressor. Their aim is to find the isothermal efficiency, number one, and number two is there, that is to find the volumetric efficiency and free air delivered. So these three quantities we have to find out. So for finding out the isothermal efficiency, we need the initial pressure, final pressure, and atmospheric conditions, temperatures we require, and we require the actual work. So you can measure the initial pressure, and final pressure with this. Okay, and we can control that pressure by opening and closing this outlet wall of the receiver. See, if you close it, it goes on increasing, but you have to adjust this wall such a way that the constant pressure will appear in this gauge, that is the delivery pressure. So we will maintain that constant pressure by adjusting the outlet wall, and once we fix it for particular pressure, let us consider that if we fix the 5 bar pressure, then that is the delivery pressure. Inlet pressure is the atmospheric pressure, delivery pressure is the 5 bar pressure, and we will note down the readings, other readings. So what are the other readings you required? So you are knowing that isothermal work required only delivery pressure, then initial pressure, initial temperature. So we are having that. And then apart from that, we need the actual work. Actual work, how to get, for measurement of the actual work, see, we are having the electrical energy we are supplying to this motor, and that is nothing but the actual air supply, actual work supplied. So you have to measure the electrical energy which we are supplying to this motor. So how to measure it? For that purpose, this energy meter is there. So you can see that there is a disc rotating, or you can see that there are numbers on this. So you can see the difference between these numbers for particular time, or you can count the rotations for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and by multiplying the energy meter constant, you can get the energy consumed in a particular time. So that will be the actual energy required for the compression. And the theoretical energy, that is what isothermal work, you can find out by formula, by knowing this. So likewise, you will get the isothermal efficiency. Now the second point is there, that is what? The volumetric efficiency. For that purpose, actual air supplied you require, and swept volume you require. Swept volume you can find out from the specifications of the bore diameter, stroke length, and all these things. And you can measure the RPM. See, this is a constant RPM compressor is there. So whatever the specifications are there, based on that you can take it. But what about the actual air flow rate you have to measure? So for that purpose, we can use the orifice. So orifice is fitted in a box before this, and you can measure the pressure difference across that orifice. Okay, so same thing whatever we have seen in the IC engine case, that the box is there, and in front of that box you will have the orifice. Across that orifice you will measure the pressure difference across that orifice with the help of manometer, and you can find out the air flow rate. So air flow rate if you got, then you can find out the actual air supplied, and that actual air supplied and theoretical air supplied by the swept volume, you can get the volumetric efficiency. So likewise, you will get the volumetric efficiency. Okay, and the third point is there, that is free air delivered. Free air delivered is nothing but the actual air supplied at the free conditions. Free conditions means atmospheric conditions. So whatever the air we are measuring it at atmospheric conditions only. So just you have to find out the amount of the air per unit time, that may be per minute, per hour, and you can get that free air delivered. So likewise, you can complete the experiment on the compressor. Thank you.